hour. I'm gonna bounce, but I'll stay here and chop it up because everybody obviously welcomes to New Year and everything. Everything's all about Shannon Sharp and Cat Williams, and it wasn't nothing revolution, anything that was grand revelation. I mean, as Shannon always likes to say, and a lot of people say, there's truth on both sides. There's two things can be true at the same time. Cat Williams spoke truth. However, there was an agenda by the powers that be to put him and Shannon Sharp to air out other black entertainers on purpose to let them know who runs the ship. And see, the thing is, Cat's still paid in the system, so he's still working in the system. He just got picked as Duck Duck Goose to be the goose egg to say, hey, if y'all don't get on board or you act funny, we can pull this carpet under you if we want to. So there's nothing really, no like grand revelation. Anything it does, it just shows how much of a plant they all are in Hollywood in the plantation, because if they get tired of you, they will pull your card. And Shannon Sharp is working for the gatekeepers. So, it's tokenism. Because remember, when he left Skip, he didn't have no Club Shay Shay, so he had to come back to his pen and they put the money in it. It's all done. It's all game. And Cat Williams ain't saying nothing. Everybody has to give up something. Oh, you think that he don't get to rock his perm or he doesn't get to play a certain character? They have that done on purpose. That stuff is scripted. So it's not like, oh, you're talking out against them. And you helping them out. And before someone comes at me and talk about Gary Owen gonna do all right as a comedian either way. He just ain't that funny. He's not a first tier or second tier comedian. He's a go along, get along side piece. They know there's tiers to the game. Now there's other things to the game too, but let's be funny first and let's actually have a base of people. What's up, man? What's up? Glad you came through. Let's chop it up. What's up? Needed somebody to come through. Thank you. What's up? Happy New Year, the best to you. Glad to see you. And when he mentioned Harvey Weinstein, everybody, that's a pinata that's already been beaten down to the ground, but they're still making money off of it. So don't get fooled by the shuffle that they're doing. Welcome to TET. I'm looking forward to questions. Chop it up, whatever you want to do. I'm all with it. That's all I need. One person come through. We can talk. There's a lot to talk about. But unlike a lot of folks, Shannon Sharp, Cat Williams it wasn't no revelation to me. All it did was basically keep brothers in line. Basically, with everything that's going on now, he just regurgitated cats of the last 30 years or so. So, because Harvey pays. But see, Harvey's part of the system too. Michael was, but you see, it's different types of systems to this. Harvey was working, trafficking, doing things, and he was, he had access in ways. And the thing about it is this. Michael Jackson actually had corporate boardroom, actually had real dealings where they had to deal with him. They make Harvey like this independent filmmaker. There's a little romance that they throw out here like you're some old free spirit entrepreneur and you're bucking the system. When in actuality, you're working within the system. They take your money, they push the agenda, and they push you on. So Harvey made money and he did. You could sit here and sugarcoat it and put roses on it and fluff it how you want. You're still part of the system. It's not like you're not part of the system. I just don't like it when people act like they're doing some grand brand, oh, I'm bucking the system. No, you're not. I don't think Michael and Oprah were ever friends. I just think that she will go along, get along. But when the storm came, she flipped. You can never trust anybody in that business. You don't have any friends. You have frenemies. We good, all friends with benefits. How you want to term it up? It comes with an asterisk. You have no friends in that business. You don't have any friends in sports. You have no friends in movies, music. You don't have any friends. The only friend you got is the Benjamins. They all share the same account in the agency. See, this is the thing. If I want to, I can really air Cat Williams out because agencies and those people dictate how things come. He gets to perform. So if he was so offensive and so cut, they wouldn't have him playing in these big arenas. They know he can make money. He just can't sell no movies. Well, Cat Williams tell truth. It's not like he gonna morph into Denzel Washington tomorrow, Chadwick Boseman. So I mean, I don't. Why you shuffle so much? You do please elaborate. I'm just trying to. It's hilarious. Few years ago, you said what it was. They get scared of, because see, when you tap dancing too much, they know that you ain't mentally stable. And see, the people that go out of their way to do it too much, they know it's an act. But in part, they know why they're doing it, but in part, they're in denial. That's the dance you play in America where we go along, get along, but you know it's wrong. But you have to act like it's right. It's a mental illness that is described. Oh, and we doing good, boss. We both sick. We both happy. They don't respect them. It's no respect. But you see, that's what happens when you have this broken history that has a broken reality and no base. That's the reality that you have. So that's what you're dealing with. Mm-hmm. That's the downside. That's the turns and flips of it. So it's a double-edged, it's a tricky sword. The dangerous road, very dangerous road. But yeah, I'm still talking about Cat Williams' situation because, you know, they do. They do. They do. And they're using Cat Williams and Shannon Sharp to don't think that they don't really gonna send what they do or David Spade or somebody to say anything, but they'll send somebody who reps in that circle to just let you know. See, that should be that's more scary than what he said, because Cat Williams is telling you through the man what you got and how it can be taken away, even though he doesn't have what they got. And there's bitterness. You got to be bitter because you wouldn't bring it up if you weren't bitter. And Shannon Sharp was playing this. Oh my God, you can't say that. Oh wow. Oh. But the man green lights all his segments. They got sponsors. They welcome it. Don't be going for the old hokey doke shock treatment. This ain't regular TV with Phil King and Oprah and all that, where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. Oh, I'm gonna be off the air. You're right. Views and clicks. This is the most happening space on the planet, is these Tubi streets. Nobody cares about no tired regular TV broadcast no more, because there is nothing on TV that is seeing the uncut on the tube. You don't have a form of network conservative TV unless it takes your mind off of the real issues at hand. And Cat Williams is so more important than the pandemic life and the impact and it's messing with your rights, just in general. Somehow that's supposed to just sway you because he spoke out against fellow Black artists. Yeah, somehow I'm supposed to feel like he's some deep, profound, uplifting ninja now, that because he spoke out. He didn't do nothing. They greenlighted. And you think Cat Williams gonna come out and say that Bill Maher is trash and they should take politically correct off the air? Do you think he would speak out against Bill Maher? Do you think he would speak out against Donald Trump and say, how do you get to run with 90 plus charges against you? Because Cat Williams got arrested and had all that stuff, and they whiteballed his career. How do you get to run for president and you break laws and you commit, all kinds of terrorist acts? He ain't speaking on it. He don't talk about Joe Biden. You ain't Black, you don't vote. He ain't talking about that. See, this is how you get people off move the antenna around. You make it all wobbly. You can't get the store back. I don't really care to be getting train wreck, car wreck. Now, and I know some people gonna say, well, you was cool with Jaguar Street. And she talked about that. Now, he won't talk about Derek Chauvin. He won't. Because they have control. This is a control narrative. And I watched Judge Joe Brown, that one sister, they have a show on YouTube, and he said what I thought. I like what he said, because some people didn't like what he said about Cat Williams' thing. I said he nailed it. I said, it's not that he's lying. It's that they're using him as a plant spy to put down other black folks and necessarily, um, because really, yeah. Now, see, if he does like Tucker Carlson, yeah. But see, they won't. Okay. But he should ask himself, why was Jonathan Majors canceled or scripted down over misdemeanors? Misdemeanors. And they all four weren't going to carry that kind of weight. So what is the purpose of them whiteballing him again? Because he didn't commit a crime that you can't come back from. So why did they pull him so hard when you think about what he's charged with? Because they're not the deepest crimes. They're not that deep. Let's just keep it 100. They're not that deep. I could talk about Charlie Sheen, which Cat Williams will not talk about. How that go? Since you want to bring up, talk about different people, he don't want to talk about nothing that's irrelevant. Yeah. And it was a situation where things escalated, but it was still misdemeanor. It wasn't a felony. It wasn't an assault. It wasn't like that black dude I'm gonna do a video about who jumped that judge in the court because he got his sentence. So he still got to talk to ABC and the network. So, and all that is PR, but you'll eventually get back. I told you, like litter duty, clean up the trash, maybe highway. It's not no charge. Ain't no real time for that. But they pick on when they want to pick on you. That's what's up. So with you, it wasn't even like a barbershop chop. It was kind of like airing out old laundry to who you want to pick on. Because you know why? Because those Cedric's always been a sidekick to a sidekick. I always said in the third tier, medium, second, high, third tier comedian. But he's able to keep a gig because he play a role and it's work. And we're gonna talk about. As a matter of fact, what was it? What was the comedian? He does a commercial with Peyton Manning and Eli. I can't think of his name. But anyway, he had a video out where he predated what Cat did with the car and the whole thing. Cats steal ideas. Hollywood ain't nothing but an open ring for jacking. Now, you gonna sit up here, copycat syndrome. All comedians take. Now, what he asked about the dress and all that, like I said before, clothing don't emasculate, doesn't mean anything in your preference. But what it does do, where black men are concerned, is that there's a control factor. Because you don't get to just role play like your white counterparts. That's just a fact. And there is this way of trying to buck break you from the plantation. It's just a mindset. So that is a reality. That is a reality. Got to specify what you mean. You tell me what era I'm talking about, I'll tell you. I got to take this in real quick. Go ahead. Tell me which one you talking about. You talking about all time or you talking about all time and now? Okay. Well, that's easy for me. Richard Pryor will always be top dog. He's the GOAT. He broke all the barriers. For better or for worse, he went through a lot. Red Fox, because he was precursor, did that. Bill Cosby, because I don't care what they say. Even though I wasn't always like blown, he was a groundbreaker. And he beat him in ways, subtlety, and he just connected. So those three for sure. Eddie Murphy's in there because let's be realistic. He was the first pop star, black. You can't even talk about it without Eddie. So them four. My number 5. See, this changes all the time. It changes all the time. Depends on my mood. I'm going to have a tie for 5th. Tie for 5. I'm going to say, but he was cold. And he writes he didn't work with everybody. He didn't script for all of them. And he will. He's that deep. And Robin Harris, had he lived, he was just JP Money. That's the one I was trying to think of. That there's a video out of JP that he did. It was on Def Comedy Jam, 96, 97. It predated Cat. So JP was up there, So, and I already know about the Steve Harvey thing with Mark Curry. Um, Curry was funny, but he was gonna be kind of Sinbadish, and Steve Harvey had fitted better. They always like a nice Nabisco cookie brother to, get those kind of middle of America type of roles and everybody's dad, kind of thing. So yeah, because they depend on Jacksonville and depending on Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh is going to probably make playoffs. Jacksonville doesn't deserve to, and we lost to Jacksonville. That's what's hurting us right now. So they should be able to beat Miami, and if they don't win, Sean McDermott should be fired. I told you your Packers were good. I told you Jordan Love is the truth. You just need some time. You got these expectations because of what you had, but you just need some time. That's all. I'm not shocked or surprised. I like Jordan Love. I think about 2 or 3 years, when he gets some real seasoning, you'll be talking trash because he's got, a lot of upside to him. Yeah, because that's what they have back in the 70s before Cosby heard. But then somewhere along the line, they get a nice Nabisco type brother. If OJ had that kind of appeal, he could have been a TV dad because he crossed over everything else. And they like a nice Nabisco wafery bopping you. If Cat want to talk about that and talk about that brother who was on ABC, TJ Holmes, and that, you talk about it from a contextual imagery situation, yeah, because that's still the same. That hasn't changed. That ain't changed. I'll tell you about the Hollywood plantation. They still very much work in those codes. They still work in that kind of situation. So if he wanted to go there, Dalvin is nice. He nice. He just got to hang on to the rock. But why did he become so expendable? See, running backs right now are just so expendable, But you can do it in the NFL. You go anywhere, they pick you up, bring you in. So, yeah, the other big news was Nikki Haley talking about she got black friends and she got black son-in-law, but she didn't know about slavery in the Civil War. But yet she's the woman who went up there and got the Confederate flag down at the Dillon roof, shot up the black church. Makes no sense. You're not fit to be no president. And even though the most racist of races are still clowning you because you can answer I shade almost like me. But you wouldn't have known it by the way they didn't clean her up. They got her looking like that chick who's in SUV, with Ice-T. That's who she looking like. Law and Order. She look like Law and Order SUV. That's what they got her looking like. They clean her up, got new hair, clean it up. That's what they do. So that's the things that you talk about, the imagery. So that was a faux pas on her part. And I heard about Trump and the whole Supreme Court, which they're not going to stop him. He bought half the people on there. Kavanaugh was bought out. Clarence Thomas' wife tried to get down. So that's going to stick. He shouldn't be. Because let's be realistic. He broke all kinds of laws, but they ain't got no standards. They going to let him do. So, And of course, LeBron and the Lakers, I've talked about it. He's old. And as Shaq would say, 39 ain't 29. So AD's balling, but they don't play no defense. And you need an umbrella when you go to crypto because it'd be raining threes. They lost. You got to remember, some John Morant's came back for what? 7, 8 games, right? He was away all that time. The Lakers better be lucky they don't lose enough for Memphis catches him because Golden State then caught him, and Golden State stinks too. As great as Steph is playing. See, 2 things that happen in the NBA. Guys got older, but the league caught up. All that long range and no boxing out, and everybody didn't caught up. Now, that GM, Bob Myers, used to be a Golden State. He was right that they were light years ahead, but that's done now. I don't even think if you put Steph, LeBron, KD together, that you get out the first round, maybe second, because to get to the second one, maybe because the league is different now. Everybody doing the same thing. It's a copycat, and this is what Adam Silver wanted. Plus, the old guard, we're going to see what happens with Kawhi Leonard, but you can see that the Steph, LeBron, Durant, and Kawhi Leonard about to come to an end. It's been a nice run, but this, you see Jokic and Giannis. We'll see what Embiid and Luka do, and we'll see what the others do. We'll see what SGA does. But you got, cats doing. Because Cat's soft. He's soft. Like, big and can shoot, but he's just like Jello, And the problem with him is that, like, Minnesota is just not believable. That's why I know why Charles Barkley. I know. Ant is bad. Ant be balling, and Edwards can hang. But when you depend on Rudy Gobert and Cat, I don't know. So, Knicks got an interesting move, but I still not sold that they're gonna be a contender like that. Still think everything goes around what Milwaukee does, Boston. See what Philly, and of course Miami Heat. So we'll see where you get in, where you fit in. But I don't think they can leap 2 or 3 teams. I just don't see it. The Knicks need a superstar. They need somebody that you go, yeah, that's the dude. And I don't see that dude. I see, because you got to compliment with Brunson and Randall. So we'll see. I know what the coach wants. He wants some smack and some hit, but good. He's behaving himself. He's trying to fit in, because he doesn't have to do as much. He's probably starstruck too because he's on a legit team. But it'll be the postseason when it comes time. Right now, it's like, okay, just stay in your lane, do your role, stay healthy. Y'all gonna switch up nights. Some nights you're gonna look one way or the other. Stay in your lane. It's gonna be interesting how it plays out. But he looked pretty good. He looked good so far, But again, this ain't what it's about. Giannis been to the land. He been to the promised land. So we're gonna see. For what? To do what? To do what at this stage? Clay going to the Knicks is like when Patrick Ewing went to the Sonics. I mean, no. Had that happened if Clay had gone there like when Durant came to go in the suit, that I'd say for the longest time, but between Wilt Chamberlain's 100 and Kobe's 81, that's the only dude I could see getting in there. But he's not that dude no more. He'll have some nights where he can pull up, but it's just not the same. It was everything to get that last chip. Now, I'm not saying he don't have a bit of a run in him, but he ain't keeping up with Steph. And the thing is, none of them are keeping up with Steph. Because if they had to hit big shots to beat the Pistons last night and blew a lead like that to Denver, that's a team that if Wiggins stepped up, if they had that piece, well, that just shows you that they fundamentally quit on their coach. And they just lazy, bunch of bums. There is no way the NBA is that strong that you lose 29 in a row unless you suck mentally. And you just checked out and you're on Instagram messing with some thoughts. You're on that 304 on them OnlyFans because you ain't in the game. That's the only way you lose 29 in a row. It's not even humanly possible. The league is not that deep. We can look around the league and you tell me a team that is so stacked right now that they would spank that behind. They went overtime with Boston. They blew that game. Boston doesn't scare me. Milwaukee's beatable. Philly's beatable. Miami beatable. Knicks beatable. Indiana beatable. That's in the East, who you play with, who you looking at. It's not like you got a lot of deep teams over in the East. And in the West, Minnesota's off to a good start, but you could beat them. Denver, Denver should beat them. But let's look in the West. I mean, really, there's no world beaters in the NBA no more. So how do you lose 29 in a row? Excuse me. Pardon me. So I don't know. Excuse me. Get off the air. Pardon me. So how do you lose 29 in a row? If you lose 29 in a row, you just not trying hard. That's all that is. You suck. You quit on you. And Monty, I like Monty as a man, but he lost his way in Phoenix. He did a good job in Phoenix, New Orleans. But this makes him look like he can't coach. This looks like D8 and CP3 sabotagery again. There's no way you lose 29 in a row. Shake my head. That's embarrassing. So I'm not buying it. Because the NBA is not that deep. But they would have been perfect for a play-in tournament win. Yeah, hold on a second. Excuse me. And see, I understood why Rasheed Wallace refused that gig last year. I understood. Because he knew this was coming. Darvin has been a good coach, but he spent too much time fanboying and saying crazy, outlandish stuff about LeBron and AD. Their rotation ain't that good, but they don't play no defense. And LeBron is not the same guy he was 5 years ago, let alone 10. He can put up 25, 6, 7, 7, 7, and 25, 8, 8, 27, 9. That's not going to work. They don't have a guy that can carry and balance LeBron at this stage and balance AD at this stage. That's the problem. That's the problem. And I hope that this will put in perspective that just because you got two big names, that it's a different NBA today. Ain't the sum of ain't the parts of those guys, but they got better. Everything else they got them beat. And basically, you could trade everybody on the Lakers 3 through 12, but nobody wants it because they either gonna hang on to Reeves, they don't want it. And there is nothing out there that can really save the Lakers unless you did get a sucker deal and De'Aaron Fox became available. You have to hope that somebody's having a crackhead up a moment or something, because that's the only thing that can save them. A De'Aaron. Now I did say trade LeBron and Reeves for Trey Young for Trey, because that's the kind of person they need. We want a lot of things. First of all, he ain't gonna start. He'll decline rapidly in a year. He's already declining. He don't play no defense now. His threes are janky and suspect. And who's going to tolerate him? He's just going to be like an amusement park shrine act. He should seriously consider retiring. I think it looked like it was a joke because of what happened with Denver, but there's some truth to it. He has moments, and he's still built, and he can still put up numbers, but he's not effective. It's not effective. And it's just not effective. It's not. As long as you're happy with that Walmart dollar store banner, that's all you're going to get. It's not effective. That ain't going to happen. I like Mikal Bridges. Cam was cool, but I don't think that Milwaukee, would that be like suicide? They got to play some defense. I mean, they will make a subtle move, but I don't know if that's going to be the move. I don't think that's going to be the move. So I don't see that happening. But they're going to be all right. As long as Giannis and Dame are healthy and they got the rights, they're going to be all right. And they got Lopez. That he's going to be big. Lopez is going to be big to Milwaukee like Aaron Gordon is to Denver. Mark my word on it. See, that's the finals that needs to happen. Forget all this Hollywood soap operas mess they want. They need another piece. I think Jason Kidd's doing good, but they missing something. They missing one more piece that would take them where they don't look like they look at and they have to do so much. They just need one more piece. If there was a Michael Portis type, a guy that was like a young version of Clay, like if you had a Klay Thompson type of guy, not Clay, but a young version of Clay that played with those two, you'd see what I'm saying. Because that's all they need right there to be a top 3 team. And then I like their chances because then it would only be Denver, and I don't know who else. I mean, we'll see with Sacramento and all that, but Minnesota, and OKC. But that's all they're missing. They're missing just that one piece because they should be top 4 right now without even trying hard. I mean, no one is going to bust Luka unless you're a better team, but they don't play no defense. Oh, I forgot about the Clippers, but they're missing that one piece. It's too bad you can't go back in time and get Michael Finley and put him in a time machine because a Michael Finley type with them two, They might come out the West. That's what they're missing. The obvious one would be their head coach if he was only 20 years younger. Because you got Kyrie to run the 2, Luka to run the 3, and then you got Jason Kidd, and you got someone to set it up. They would be scary. That's what they're missing, if you must know. Someone that just makes it easy for them, who can also score by the way and shoot. So they just missing that. That's all. I think it's working out okay. Better than a lot of people thought. Would Kyrie like to have miraculous gone to the Lakers? Yeah. Yeah. You know, there's a few cats I could think of, but you got to have the right person. You put the right person with them two, they got a chance to come out the West because it's that close. Because remember, they did get to the Western Conference Finals 2 years ago, and that was just Luka raw bone in it. So put them with a piece, that's all. So it's not that far. And the West ain't that deep. Contrary to what they say, what happens is just the young guards are doing what they, everybody's playing the same way. And also the old guards can't flip the script. That's all that is. You seeing the change of the guards. The East already had it happen. But you still got Milwaukee, Boston, Philly, and Miami, so they're still young. But out West, you've seen the cats got old. Everybody went out West, and then everybody caught on and so now everybody's kind of in the same stagger. But now the younger teams are merging. So that's what's up. Keep your eye on where Donovan Mitchell goes. Because to me, he goes somewhere where he can be a comfortable third fit. And it'll be kind of like Porzingis with Boston, if he goes right. Lamar is not up for discussion. Dak's out there. Is not the not in, and he got exposed in the last 3 games, and it should have been 3 straight losses. Buffalo made him look very ordinary. Didn't finish up against Miami, and he looked, aside from CeeDee Lamb hitting Lamb, they should have lost that game. And they're not that deep of a team. They're going to get the division crown maybe by default because of Philly's often coaching blunders. But Lamar has been consistent. The real question should be out of Lamar and McCaffrey out of Frisco. That was the real MVPs, not Dak. Dak could be in the top 4 or 5 of it, but I don't think he's done anything. It's by default. It's kind of like by default and who he played with. But he looked bad in them games they lost. He looked bad. And he's back throwing picks. So no, I can't say that. Stats can fool you. What they're really missing in Dallas is Ezekiel Elliott type of back. Their offense is still suspect. They haven't have an automatic kicker, but the defense is suspect. Can't stop the run. I'm not sold on him. And I think, he by default, he would have, had he not looked like crap the way he played, So I can't say it because he's not close to what Lamar has done. And on McCaffrey or Brock Purdy for that matter, I think he's behind 3 guys. So that's my thoughts on that. No, there ain't no hate either. Because I will give him his due. He's had some, but if he gets caught reindeering, meaning looking like a deer lost in the headlights, he will. But if Debo and McCaffrey take the pressure off of him. But see, people got all upset with Cam Newton when Cam spoke the truth. I know what Cam was saying because those guys are managers. They're not guys that have necessarily led. They don't have that green light. And they're playing with more talent than Cam Newton had. That's why I was so mad with Kimberly Martin. I say, all due respect, to her, but I don't have no respect for her because she showed her behind with that. Jessica Rabbit was off. Cam never has had the kind of talent that Dak had at receiver and running back, so stop. Or what Purdy had at receiver and running back or defense, so stop on a whole. So he had every right to what he said. And they hate on Lamar too. So, but Lamar is, one of them brothers, he gets it done. Dak is Nabisco, and he plays for Dallas. And if he gets butt knocked out in the playoffs, it's gonna be the same old world. Because you see he could get hurt or something. So I'm not really, you know, that's all I'm saying about that. It's the same old same. It really is the same old same. So we'll see how it plays out. You know, we'll definitely see that. But, you know, Frisco should come out the NFC easily, though. I don't see no one getting their way. I would like to see Dallas get their behind blew up by Detroit or something, because I think it's just, yeah, I said that already. There ain't no ifs and buts about it. If they don't make the playoffs, he's got to be fired, because they almost question my fan. I will actually contemplate. I'll stay a Bills fan, but I won't be near as much if they don't get in, because I think they both are accountable. But you can't put no banner up in all season, and then you have to come to the last game of season and you drop it, and you look that bad. I'm gonna tell you like this: Miami's a fraud because they can't play against no legit team, and they will get their behind squared out. Tyreek Hill is MVP worthy too. Let's not forget about Tyreek. Tyreek should get some strong consideration. I know Tua will get some too, but Miami don't play no defense. But if Buffalo make the playoffs with that, he should be fired. They should be, because they have gotten exposed. They just as fraudulent as Dallas is. You know, and I call teams out what I see. There's one thing if you boasting and bragging that you're a team that kind of got there and you don't have much, like a la Pittsburgh. That's why Mike Tomlin is a great head coach. But when you got that kind of talent and you get exposed, you get waxed. Miami got waxed last week. There's no words about it. That one bobble by Tyreek, and after that, they just got waxed. I'm sorry, but if you're this late in the season and a team can put a 50 burger on you, you don't even deserve to make the playoffs. They get some money, get some hands, it ain't a problem. That's all it come down to there. They got to stop dropping balls. That's the key. And they got to get the other guys involved, because Kelsey is just a distraction. Some of it's Taylor Swift, which I'll say does become like a big PR, which has gotten a lot. But those cats drop too many rocks. They drop the rock too much. Because if you catch 2 or 3 of them balls, they got about 11, 12 wins right now. And even though they are in the bachelor pad in the AFC West, they should be 2 or 3 games ahead. They shouldn't be having a team like the Raiders even in breathing distance, because the division is garbage, or Denver for that matter. That's just not good. Andy Reid, they got to do a better job. They got to get somebody who, get some Elmer's glue and hang on to the rock, because that's really bad. That's really bad. So, but I will say this. If they get the ball and they can win, don't count them out. Two things are true. You're right, but I got to disagree on the second part. Yes, all that about Denver and Peyton's racism. However, Mike Tomlin don't want to deal with him at this stage. Russell is not the half that he was. And if those cats were complaining about the quarterbacks they got now getting the rock, sometimes Russell doesn't be consistent. He still got something in him. He got something in him, but I don't know if Mike Tomlin is the answer. I just don't know. Because I'm not really swayed by what I'm seeing with him. I think he'd be good still in New Orleans with Alvin Kamara, if I'm honest. But see, Pittsburgh, they're kind of like a lower end postseason. Whereas he goes to New Orleans and something like that, you can be a little bit better than average and you can win the division. Go to Pittsburgh and you don't do good, that's a big gamble. So if I was a betting man, I'd say he'd go to New Orleans if I was a betting man. Because I think what Pittsburgh needs is a quarterback that's athletic, poised, and younger. And you can get 5 or 6 years out of him. Also don't have that out of him, not at this stage. If it was more meat and potatoes, I just got to see it. But they got a legit running game, legit receiver. So I just don't think he could cut it there. You know, prove me wrong. And Mike Tomlin is one of the best coaches in NFL still, and one of the greatest ever, as far as I'm concerned. Because if you could have Mason Rudolph and them busters that he got at quarterback, Pinky Tuscadero Pinkett, whatever that turkey name in our pit, and they still over 500, that man can coach. The man been to 2 Super Bowls. He won one, lost one. So he got legacy. He's got Bill Carr, and Bill Carr's got a blazer on in the studio. So Mike Tomlin will get a head bust, a jacket, and respect. And people still trying to trade him off and downplay him. You put Mike Tomlin in a situation where he could win, he would thrive. He already showed you. Because no one could coach that mess in Pittsburgh unless they know what they're doing. They should have let him go last year. When Brady won that ring, that should have been the time clock right there. I told you already. I got my rules about this. If you ask me, I told you. You wish your former person well, they get to the playoffs, okay. Second round, that's cool. They start getting to a conference championship, you might kind of walk in the room, make a sandwich, take a peek. They get to the Super Bowl, to the show, you sit down because you got both eyes glued. And if they win, you never hear the end of it. You never let a ring go out the room. It's like a good woman in your life. If she's the ring, you sure ain't gonna settle for the bubblegum ring out the 50-cent machine in Walmart. You want the ring. So, problem with Belichick, besides he can't cheat no more, is he don't have Josh McDaniels. You don't have nobody to get the camera spies out. Their defense ain't that bad. It's just they sucked at the quarterback spot. Because Mac and Cheese Jones was a buster. And I saw that coming from a country mile. And then Zappa, he did. He tried to treat him like he was a side chick. And the problem is that even people who were starch Belichick supporters now are saying Brady made him, because as time goes on, Belichick, it's the offense that's deplorable. You know, when you got Ezekiel Elliott even in shape and you still suck, and your routes are bad. Even the game against Buffalo, where they were so lucky that the Bills, like I said, that's why Sean McDermott needed to be 1 foot out the door. Have 3 or 4 turnovers. That game should have been like 50-17. Sent they butt home by halftime, not where you struggling. Because Zappa was throwing like he was Moon Zappa. And they're just not a good team. And he went and got Matt Patricia and his son called him off the court. It was horrible last year. And it's been horrible since Brady's left. Cam Newton did okay. Cam was okay. But them white boys they got after Cam have been a joke. And see, one thing is, you can't have nobody shine like that and stun on you like that. That's just bad luck for you. So, he can sit there in his press conference with his old sweaty on top of on to Cincinnati, on to Kansas City. You on your way out the door. Should have been. But we'll see what Robert Kraft do. They'll strip him of his GM duties. Yeah, I did a video about that too, and I agree with him. And I saw, what's that turkey? It was with Randy Moss. I did a video about him because he played for Washington. He used to play for Frisco, and he lost his job to Kaepernick. Dang, I'm gonna have to dig this up real quick. Hold on. Let me type this in real quick. I hate it when I have to do this, but gotta get on here and do this real quick. Close out Brady. Let me go look at him. Alex Smith. Yeah. And Alex Smith was talking trash. I'm like, shut up, turkey. I'm like, you were a good quarterback once you learned how to get your isotoners, get your gloves on, but you don't have the... Brady was calling out because these guys emulate, and they emulate what's going on. It's just like the NBA. You know, if you take a step out of it, you see the mediocrity, the parody, but not good parody. So I'm like, yeah, the cadences is off. I mean, think about it. Look who's replacing Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. You tell me he didn't look like his old self against New Orleans. Because Baker Mayfield looked like the Baker Mayfield we all came to know and love. I saw that mess. Oh, God. Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo. Do I have to go on Russell to an extent? And Zach Wilson? Oh, God. Zach Wilson. Oh, God. Anything in New England. Yeah. Yep, and Frisco too. Because he was the one there before Cap. And in the yeah. There's always one of those cats. Every got him. And actually got to be a good quarterback. Went to Washington, just had that injury. He actually got to be good. But he was never great. And his hands were too small with the isotonic gloves, and he cried. Like, yeah, okay. Miss me with that, miss. Miss me with that. Yes, the quality in the AFC could make the case, but you want to know something? I tell X Smith, you such a football savant. They moved the Colts out the AFC East to help Peyton Manning's legacy and put him in the AFC South because he was getting his behind toe up. Okay. You're old enough, but you might be too young to remember Chad Pennington, who put that 41 burger on the Colts' behind. Chad Pennington. Yeah. They did, and they both took his job. Thank you. And they both led their teams to the Super Bowl. Thank you. Yeah, Pennington waxed that butt. New England was waxing that butt. Then they moved the Colts to AFC South because they couldn't keep up with the AFC East. That was the facts. So life got easier. So if he wants to put the finger at Peyton Manning. They didn't move Brady and the Patriots. They moved Peyton Manning and the Colts out because New England was tearing their butt up and they needed to have this draw. Things ain't done by accident. Wish Alex Smith would tell the truth. That's right. Couldn't be nothing over there. Everybody had a piece of Peyton's behind back then. So once they got out of there, they used to beat up on Kansas City. Then they played Baltimore and Tennessee and all that. Life got easier. I'm not saying that, he didn't earn what he got, but let's be realistic. They got his butt up out the AFC East. He wasn't going to have that kind of success if he had to go against Brady and Belichick and the Patriots. Yeah, because Cap was where it was at. Cap was mobile, and Cap could throw that rock, and they gave him the best chance to win. Alex Smith is almost like a prototype quarterback for another era. Now, you can take that as a diss. I don't care. What's his butt? Cincinnati quarterback. Oh, Andy Dalton. That's kind of like Alex was like a better version of that. So for a certain era, he fit good. But, let's not romanticize stuff, shall we? I mean, let's stop with the romanticizing and the Lawrence Welk and the Bulls, okay? Call a turkey what a turkey is, okay? So that's what happened with that. That's all. So he made the right choice. And you saw what happened, because Cap had a better career than Alex Smith, too. Alex got to Washington, got hurt. As he got older, he sucked his first 20, but the last 3 or 4, he was legit. He stunk in Tampa Bay because I held back, and I remember when Vinny pounded the pavement against the Jets, my cousin Vinny, and they gave him, that's what changed all the Canberra rules. He got better as he got older, but he sucked a lot of years. He was a buster. But yeah, if we go, you could make that case. My cousin Vinny did. So people act like you don't remember stuff and they got nerve to pop off. And I'm like, you can't pop off. You was a really good second-tier quarterback. No. Don't live in Thailand, but what's up with you? No. Want to get there, though. And I got a real good friend of mine who was half Thai in Cambodia. So, but no. Appreciate you coming through though. And I definitely got down with the cuisine though. Definitely got schooled on Thai food and culture and Buddhist culture, different things. So it's definitely something I would definitely look into. Definitely learn possibility because I'm not that super far from it. Ventured out to the UK, so definitely got my passport and definitely look into it. You know. Well, see, I'm gonna tell you something about Dan Orlovsky. It's kind of like when you talk about Sean Salisbury and Chris Sims and some of these busters that they have on here. These cats, I don't remember their career. Not at all. I seen them in a jersey on the sideline with a clipboard. You could give me $5 million straight up and I had to give you back your money because I don't remember these turkeys. I don't remember their career. Now Collinsworth I do, but Collinsworth was what we call a third tier receiver at the time. Kenny Anderson, all that. You know, Isaac Curtis was way better. They gave Collinsworth a hookup, and they gave him a long branch. You know, but he wasn't that kind of receiver. Had they beaten Frisco in that first Super Bowl, that one part where he got some romanticized, but you know, so you know, so a lot of these cats, like I said before, most time when brother gets on there, he got to actually be legit. So there is a Kendrick Perkins. There's one Kendrick. There may be a couple other cats like that, but usually, if he did, I can't remember that. I ain't lying. You got to show me the footage because I don't remember him. If I go look at his career highlights, they probably got his Pop Warner era, and maybe when he got on stage, when he gave him draft, he was not memorable at all. But that's what they do. They take third, fourth tier, fifth tier white boys and hook them up like you supposed to know who they are. Black dude, you better have a name. Most time, brothers got to be like Mike Irwin, Keyshawn Johnson, Shannon Sharp. See how that works? You find some white dude who's real obscure. It's almost like on the inside the NBA when Shaq, Charles, and Ernie and Kenny be like who he played with, because that's where I'm going with this. Like I don't even remember this turkey, and I watched Detroit Lion games, and they had everybody and different. I don't know him. And what I remember, he was sitting on his behind getting sacked and throwing bad picks. You know, had a QBR rating of his shoe size. So I you know, just saying. But that's what they do, though. That's what they do. Ain't nothing changed. Ain't nothing changed. Not at all. Yeah, they do. They gave Tebow all that love, kept him a job. You know, cats that gave it a nice, good old effort. But usually when the brothers get hired, especially in football, them cats had a career. Most cats, I can sit there and say, yeah, they got a 3-minute highlight package. Kendrick Perkins had about a minute highlight package of Mean Mug, and he may have had a couple rebounds that I remember. That's about it. But usually, yeah, you got to have had done something if you black. The white boys they hire for them commentaries, like they had Brady Quinn. He's a LeVar Arrington and Brady Quinn. And though LeVar didn't quite have the NFL career to match his college career, he still had a little, you know, Brady Quinn is a commentator? Huh? Can I go Scooby-Doo? Huh? Brady Quinn, the Brady No Mighty Quinn, who was third, fourth tier in Notre Dame, and he sucked. He sucked. Him and that dude who did The Bachelor, that one is with the Giants, I mean, they sucked. But that's the kind of mess that they push, you know, like they look like the Jonas Brothers or something. I don't know, but that's the agenda. So, just like this dude, Jesse Palmer. Yeah, thank you, because I wasn't Jesse Palmer. They always got one like that. All suave, like they making a commercial. The guy sucked. Like, if it ain't Jim Palmer or Arnold Palmer, that's the only Palmers I know. Palmer. Jesse Palmer, if you're doing his career highlights as a quarterback, you got to go back to when he played in elementary school. I remember him vaguely on the Giants one night, and I don't even know if that was for a body double in the movie because he sucked. Okay, just being honest. But that's what they do with them white boys. They always got them like that. Mm-hmm. Always. Most of them, yeah. You know. See, I wish the standards were the same. You know. See, I like the fact Jordan's a great announcer and he had a great career. Romo was good, you know. Well, yeah, because if you're set up like Trent Dilfer, who was okay, and Brad Johnson was okay, but you have a great defense and you get you through, you know. But it's a lot of politics involved, a lot of politics, politics. So, but I haven't thought of quarterbacks that I detest that much recently that won rankings because I mean, Matthew Stafford is good, not great, but he good. But on overrated side, but good. I'm not gonna cringe. Nick Foles, well, backup, kind of like a Jeff Garcia updated. But I actually like the way he played. He actually could ball. I still think in Philly, and we'll see what happened with Jalen Hurts. But something about Nick Foles was magical that year. He was magical there. You know, so yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. There's a lot of that. I have a thing because when you say you start on it, but backup, oh yeah, I'll give you that. Because Doug Peterson was a backup to Brett Favre. He used to hold the clipboard in Green Bay. I remember him because I used to live in was in Washington State, and he was a real known in high school. And I was scratching my head like, why he getting all this love? But then, to his credit, as a head coach and quarterbacks, Doug Peterson gets my respect because obviously with Nick Foles and he obviously saw Jalen Hurts and he moved on. Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's the sad part. He had Carson Wentz and then he went on with Trevor Lawrence. So Doug knows the way about coaching. Yeah, I mean, see, that's what cheapens it. He belongs in the gumball machine at Walmart. That's the only ring he should have wore around the collar. He sucked. I mean, he sucked. And he's gonna have a low budget gig until they try to make him into the Bachelor, till they like I said, they do these sort of things. That's why they kept trying to push the Tebow angle. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I'm not, I have my takes and opinions about that stuff. So, there's a lot of that going on. A lot of that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So it's going to be a big, interesting day, I guess, for football tomorrow. And of course, I'm pulling for Michigan over Washington, but that could go either way. Much as I like the Wolverines, Washington has had like a rabbit's foot. So, I kind of would lean towards Bosa. I think I don't really like him personally, but he'd be consistent. I have to think about some of my other choices, but. What about yourself? I have to think about that. Bosa comes up. They better win because Harbaugh has enough heat on his behind where they may put a cancel surviving if he don't win. And I don't think he's going to get a better chance. They beat Alabama. He better win. He better win. Then he can go on to the NFL because I think that's his next ultimate move. Get that chip for Michigan and go on because, yeah, Ohio State, but that was a blow. That was bad how y'all lost. But at least y'all didn't get blowed out like FSU. Georgia beat the doorknobs off them. Yeah, they do. They do. They do. They think he's too smug and arrogant, and there's truth to it. Much as I root for him because I'm a Michigan fan, there's something about catch me if you can. It's like Leonardo running from Tom Hanks. That's how I feel about Harbaugh. you know. But he always was a hardworking cat who could actually do the job. It's just can't finish. So this will be, you know. So we'll see. But Michael Phoenix is something else. I mean, they got the offense. Washington ain't impressed me or blown out, but they find ways to win and they stay in games. So they find a way to get through the chin. So we'll see. We'll see. I hope they win because I need something to brag about as a sports lover because my teams aren't, you know, Michigan is one of my teams. The Bills are, Yankees are, the Heat are. So I need Michigan at least rep for me. I've had a tough time with the mother team. So, so we will see. We shall see. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens when they see what they come back with UCLA. I mean, you know, I don't think they should have messed with the Pac-10. That's just my personal opinion. But they trying to homogenize stuff, move around. Can't really say how it's going to go with anything because, you know, it's all about who gets the best recruits, you know. And there is parity in college football. I think realistically, you could have 6 teams play off this year, but we'll see what happens, you know. Okay, because you don't have a baseball team. Okay, yeah. And I have college and all that. Yeah, you know, see, you're in the same boat as me with that. So Packers ain't gonna be no deep this year. Lakers ain't gonna. I already talked about all that. And the Yankees battling Boston for the 4th and 5th slot. They're a victim of also what's happening in the NBA with the Lakers. Like, you know, Tampa Bay, Toronto, those teams gotten better. And you know, I like Boone, but Boone is kind of like Harbaugh. You know, he won a lot, but you got to step it up. And the Yankees just fell flat last year. So there's Aaron Judge. They got to get rid of Stanton. They got to see if Soto comes through. You know, and Cole I like as a pitcher, but they need another arm, need relief. I just think they about a couple of steps behind the pack. That's all. So I don't know. But they are a long way from 2009. I'm going to tell you that now. Baseball done changed and, you know, it's a lot going on. So I don't know Brian Cashman can make it happen there. But I already told you. Green Bay just needs to get on the same accord with their defense, offense. I mean, they're not that far off. You know, Dan Campbell did a great job in Detroit, but still, you know, there ain't a lot separating teams. Because there's a lot of second that you can definitely be a good, legit second tier team in NFC. So, and then you can sneak somebody. So we'll see. I'm not rooting. I like Jordan Love. I told you before, Jordan Love was the truth. I like Jordan Love. Packers got a better chance than the other 3, though. To the other 2, I'll tell you that. I don't see no hope for the Lakers. And play no defense. They got to get like a wall. They need like Donald Trump to bring a wall to crypto. Because they can't stop nothing. And that's going to be their problem. They're going to get scoring, but they can't stop nothing. And the Yankees, they need work. You know, when you're average being the 3rd, the 5th best team in the division, or you're just mediocre and you can't be Houston or just can't get over the hump, and expectations are still crazy. So that's all. So that's my thoughts with that. Not really, because they only got one chip to show for it, and that was the bubble one. I mean, they done bought, actually, be honest with you, they spent more than Yankees did in the 90s. You got to remember, as a Yankee fan, I got to run this through. Derek Jeter, Paul O'Neill, Bernie Williams. Got Dave Cone old. Got the White Gooden old, Strawberries old. They weren't the same. Let's say Knobloch, Girardi. They weren't household names. Jeter became one. But when I look at the Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw's a household name. Mookie Betts, household name. So right there, they got a couple of dudes who canceled Jeter out, and they underachieved, spent all that money, and what did they get? They got Freeman too. So no. They only got one ring and only one World Series appearance. And they had Torrey in the late OOs with Manny. Had it. They've underachieved. Giants won more. The Cardinals won more. Boston won more. They've underachieved. Houston been to the show and won a couple. So no, I can't agree on that one. We wouldn't be looking different Dodgers because they actually look more like the Yankees of the 80s, where they went out and bought a lot of guys and they didn't pan out because they're getting their behind wore out. They got wore out in the Arizona series. You know, I felt for Clayton Kershaw because he pretty much is kind of like Peyton Manning in the pitchers. And he bad, but his postseason is horrible, usually. And it doesn't equate to a guy who, no, it's not going to be like Sandy Koufax. But the thing is that, you know, it should be. Oh, yes. This man, I was a kid when he played for the Houston Astros as a baseball catcher, and he couldn't even bat his body weight. But he turns out to be one of the greatest managers ever. I mean, he just gets it done and got that team believing in him. And he got a chance. Yeah, he very much so. You know, that man can flat out manage. And that's all it is, really. You know, right place, right there, knowing what to do. But some guys got it like that. You know, some guys got it like that. So I'm very impressed with what he's done. Very. Because I never, you know, he was just a scrub as a pitcher, as a catcher, as a player. But he turned into one of the greatest managers ever. So that just goes to show you, don't count nobody because you never know how it's going to flip. He's a great example of that. I didn't see that coming like that. You know, so, you know, that's all it takes. And see, that's what you see right now. That's why certain guys keep jobs because of the players still believe in what you're doing on that level. That's it. And I think baseball is probably more so than the other sport. Basketball is all about a style and a system and who's ever the top player and how things work. NFL starts with your quarterback and then your leaders, and they speak, and then it rolls from there. Because you can get got in them sports, but baseball, you really got to be in tune because you're playing longer, and the road to winning is a lot more tougher. It's the toughest sport to win. I know people are going to come at me and say the NFL. Say, no, because one thing about the NFL, if you got the best quarterback and you're dominant, usually goes through you, usually. And in the NBA, usually the same thing. Baseball's a different thing. Yeah, I was happy for him too. Dusty's one of my favorite baseball personalities, one of my favorite sports personalities, period. And I'm glad he got that ring with Houston. It's long overdue. And he's one of the greatest managers ever. You know, he showed he can manage wherever he go. I just think Houston got a little lackadaisical this year. They got a little complacent. Still was in a threat to go to the show though. Still was a threat. So, yeah. But I was glad for him though. And that was the first baseball glove I ever got too. And I still remember he hit a home run to beat the Giants back in the day. And never forget that. Knocked their butts out the playoffs. He from Riverside, Cali, played with the Dodgers, was with Hank Aaron when Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's record. And Dusty got stories for days. Very deep, brother. Very well-rounded. And, you know, stays current. Stays very current. You know, down-to-earth cat. So now they really haven't. They ran Cito Gaston out in Toronto, and he did the back-to-back. And it's just a reality. I told you before, one of the things on college sports plantations and auctions, they don't push black general managers and stuff like that. They don't. You know, even if you get to the show as a black manager in baseball or something, that's still significant because you get an opportunity. You know, so They got a long way to go. And we've been saying the same old song and dance about that. Ain't nothing changed. Been the same old song. Yeah, because and they did that because they wanted to spite Barry Bonds to spite what they do, but they should have been had Gaston in. Gaston is more accomplished than quite a few of them white boys they hold up that ain't won nothing. I told you I'm the McGriff thing. He was in the very good player. I don't know about Hall of Fame. Very good. There's a difference. But there's so much politics in there, you know. So I like McGriff a lot, but I don't, you know. Ain't no way in the world you ever tell me he'll be in before Barry Bonds or before Clemens or before quite a few, you know, just saying. But baseball operates, got their own agenda. So, yeah. Go give me some snack on hold second. Keep on talking. I can't say that because I like him more. But LaRusso did have Oakland, St. Louis. LaRusso did great for a lot of places he went. Now you could say they won about almost about the amount. It's hard to say because Gaston won in Toronto, and I don't know. I have to see another. I had to see Gaston. Again, I like a lot of people for LaRusso, but I'm not gonna sit here and say that. He's kind of like a baseball version of Pat Riley, but I think more Rick Pitino, but with rings. Though he rubbed it the wrong way, but he won. He won, and he won in different places. Could say he underachieved in Oakland. You could make that case, or in St. Louis, but he won. But it's kind of hard though, because baseball is the hardest thing to manage. It really is. A lot of things got to really go your way, and it ain't always about. People always used to say, "Oh, you buy this, you buy that." Talking about the Yankees. No, baseball. It's the most unlikeliest people that blow you up. So I can't even use that. It's a different logic. For me, I'm going to say Jeter's in there. Dave Concepcion is in there. Ozzie Smith is in there. Say Cal Ripken Jr. is in there. And I'll throw a name that you're proud of. Well, I'm trying to think of Gary Templeton because I used to like Gary Templeton. I got to get back up on that. I come from an era where shortstops weren't hitting the long ball per se. It was a hot spot. So those guys come to mind. Closers, well, Rivera, of course. Goose Gossage back in the day. Bruce Sutter. I used to want to say Dan Quisenberry because I love that, but Trevor Hoffman, I'll give him his due. He definitely, you could say stat pattern, but there was something to that. Lee Smith. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Lee Smith was bad. Mm-hmm. Bruce Sutter, those guys were bad. Hoops Gossage, Mariano Rivera will be number one. Pete Rose, Ricky Henderson, Derek Jeter, Mookie Betts, and I give Ichiro his due. And I know I'm missing a ton, but those are guys that come off the top of my dome because Mookie Betts does impress me what he do. And Ricky Henderson was that dude who could set it off. I said Ichiro. Well, Bonds, to me, is in his own stratosphere as a GOAT. So, I mean, that's a whole different level. But I'm just talking about guys basically putting the bat on the ball and got on base and triggered you off. That's why I mentioned Ricky Henderson and Jeter and Rose and Ichiro. You know, them guys and Mookie Betts. Because Bonds, that's a whole different level. He was more than that. That's no diss to those guys. You know, that's certainly no diss, but there's a different level to it. There's tiers to it. So, contact, that's like a guy in the NBA to me who, you know, he can score, pure score, but how his stats, his average, and what he does with winning or his impact, that's a different animal. So, there's different. Yeah, I forgot. I like I said, I forgot some. Probably because of Gwynn, and I can make a case for Tony Gwynn, just like I could make a case for George Brett. So I have to be thinking, because again, I gotta go back in time. Yeah, Tony Gwynn is, I'll make it Gwynn over Bettis. Gwynn over Bettis. So there you go. So Ricky, Jeter, Gwynn, George Brett, Pete Rose. Yeah. Just for putting the bat on the ball. And, you know, not talking about the other stuff. Because I look at those guys a little bit differently. But you can throw Bond in there. If you give me 10, you can throw him in there. Because he beat you to, and Molitor, yeah. And I forgot all about Molly, because Molly played different positions. Him and Robin Young always throw me off because they were so versatile when they played with Milwaukee. Versatile cats. He's one of those unsung guys. There's quite a few different era where you just don't think about certain guys because of it. But I went to the guys that, you know, Molitor, again, where he played for, what they did, you kind of be forgotten. Kind of be forgotten. Could happen. So, no excuses, but it's just a fact. And I did, because I used to have Paul Molitor baseball cards. But, again, Milwaukee, you know, they had Ben Ogilvie, they had Cecil Cooper, who was the Astros manager. Yeah, Pudge is kind of forgotten. And the thing about Pudge, he was, but so was Piazza, Johnny Bench, you know, Cabello from Detroit too. So Pudge, yeah. So a lot of little guys. There's a lot of different guys that you can make those cases for. Mm-hmm. Just like everyone make a case for Chipper Jones. So again, it depends on what you know. Frank Thomas too. And then you start getting into long ball hitters and empowerments. Again, that's another topic, but guys who hit for average, you know. But I'm going to stick with the initial five. Molitor is a great pick, and Pudge is too. Molitor is one of those unsung dudes. Mm-hmm. Kind of like the dude that you almost forget. Because he didn't play in a big market, and him and Robin Young almost cancel each other out. Because they were very dynamic and, you know, so. So, yeah. Good name. Edgar, yeah. I think being a DH is why it kind of works against Edgar, though. I think if he would have been more an everyday player, we probably would hold him regard. And CDH has kind of got the softball label by old heads. So that's the thing. But he could hit. But again, he played on a stacked team. People forget about Jay Bone, Buhner, obviously Griffith Jr., obviously with Alex Rodriguez. You know, they had a dominant squad. They just didn't win. And I think, you know, but he could hit. He could hit. He was a bad boy. He was a bad boy. So you mentioned a lot of legit names. I have win over Molitor and Pudge, but they belong. But Edgar was bad. Well, Bones got a game before anybody. And then Clemens. I think they both get in the same time, but they're two of the greatest ever. You talking about arguably the greatest baseball player ever, and then you talking about arguably the greatest pitcher ever. So we can't really prove stuff because of what was and what wasn't. And these guys were already great players already. So it's not like, they became greater at later stages and they didn't already have a Hall of Fame career. It's a double standard. He was. He was great in Toronto. That's why they got him. That's why they got him. So I remember. He was great. He did great in Houston too. Him and Andy Pettit went to Houston. So I got no more respect for him as a player. Not so much crazy about him personally, but as a player, he was great. To me, he was everything that Nolan Ryan wasn't because he actually was dominant. He actually had multiple pitches. He had longevity. And he was clutch. I mean, he intimidated the right way too. So I like Roger. He was a great pitcher, great player. Of those three, Mussina. Schilling was kind of like, Schilling's got like a Robert Ory thing, who I do think should be in the NBA Hall of Fame, but Schilling was a margin on the season and incredible during the post. The only reason why they won't him is because his political agenda, even though that usually don't work against you, but he just wasn't that much in the regular season. Pettit was one of my favorite pitchers, left-hand pitchers ever. Pettit was smooth. I always knew when they put him on the mound, game 1 or 2, we're going to get that W. And I liked his, how he rocked his glove by his nose, and then he'd come from the stretch. He was cool. Pettit was cool. He was cool. Did good in Houston, too. He ain't going to be in the Hall of Fame, but Mussina, the Moose, yeah, of those three. Do I think all three should be in? Andy was clutch. I just don't think he got no body of work overall regular season, but he was clutch. If they bend the rules for Schilling, but they have to bend the rules, though, because he wasn't that, he wasn't the same dude regular season he was postseason. Andy was tough. And I knew when he pitched, we were going to win the game. Even we lost the first game, Andy was out there. You're going to get 7-8 strong innings. He was durable, reliable, got the job done. Yeah. I think I was trying to talk about Puig, who played for the Dodgers, who had that arm, and then he got in trouble messing with something that got him out. Yeah, I heard Oswald. Yeah. Yeah. But see, it all depends on what your criteria for Hall of Famers are. I mean, mine is pretty simple. If you look it, you act it, and you're in the part, you should be a Hall of Famer. I don't need to wait 20 years later. It's like I got asked about Patrick Mahomes, and I said, look, I knew the first 3 or 4 years, this guy's one of the 5 greatest quarterbacks ever. I don't need to wait 10 years later. I can see with the eyes test don't lie. Just like when I saw Steph Curry in 2014-15, I said, that's one of the greatest players ever. When I saw Kobe smiling, I knew Shaq earlier. There's guys I see, Dwayne Wade. You name different sports players. I don't know. There's difference in terms of where they rank overall. Yeah. But are they Hall of Fame worthy? You kind of know. You kind of know. You know, if you're paying attention. If you're paying attention. That's true. It's like in the Tiger Woods, Steph Curry situation. And I'm just talking about being light skinned, but it plays a part. He is a special quarterback. I mean, let's be realistic. You know, he even camped out AFC Championship games at home, 2-1 in the Super Bowl, two Super Bowl MVPs, 2 league MVPs. That's a heck of a career. So, I have to think about him. I mean, you can make a case, but like I said, there's certain guys you just say their name, you're like, yep, yep. And some other guys you got to kind of think about. I mean, I could make a case for him, you know. Could. Delgado was bad. I could make a case for him. But baseball's a different brand. You know, and I don't really, when we talking baseball, if Bonds and Clemens ain't in, I just can't take them serious. McGuire should be in too. Sosa should be too. And Palmeiro for going by numbers. I can kind of understand the Palmeiro shake because there wasn't nothing memorable there. Yeah, he got 3,000 hits and 500 home runs, but he didn't really stand out. But these other guys, they stood out. So, you know, he should be in. He was an integral part with Boston. If you let Ortiz in, you should have all them guys in. All Ortiz done is shuffle and buck. Okay? You know, they'll say he from the island. He be African, brother. He be, you know, big Swanson man eating cat. Be up here, he for these streets too. He got good on TV. He went to the A-Rod Charm School. They cleaned him up. But if he gets in, you got to let Manning. You got to let all them cats in. He just hustled on TV. He shucked and grinned. Got some shuffling from A-Rod and from Frank Thomas. That's all Frank Thomas is known for now. And she'll like it too. All I see is teeth and the same old. So, you know. But baseball, you know, cats that should be Hall of Famer are, and it should be the ones that are obvious. Not when we start mentioning Harold Baines and McGriff, some of these people. Because I mean, like, some of these guys are not Hall of Fame. But they're in because there's an agenda. So, again, that's why it's not the same. The fans outside can debate And you can obviously say, yeah. But what they're putting in, that's not Hall of Fame. Some of it ain't Hall of Fame. Some people don't like what you got to say. Just like the NBA. Yeah, he was. He was. And he was in Cleveland. I liked Albert. I think if they won, it'd be hard not to have him in now. I think they actually used that against him had he won. And he wasn't the first brother I heard speak out. I remember Lonnie Smith spoke out. There's been other brothers that spoke out. I want to say Kenny Lofton said some stuff too, but Sheffield did too. Barry Rock. Eric Davis did too. I remember that World Series. And they should have won it. So, the Jose Mesa, was he partying or something? I remember some crazy story. It was crazy. But, yeah. See, with baseball, you got memories, and you, like I said, it's a little bit different, though. It's a little bit different. Some people hope that your memory starts to fade and they start to put people in and you go, okay. But that's why I have a hard time accepting a lot of what they do, because they don't always, their criteria ain't what they should be. They're more driven by other. Well, yeah, I remember that. Obviously, I remember that. No, everything with that is because the Yankees beat Seattle. And no. Whoa, wait a minute. Yeah. Diamondbacks. Yeah. I try to forget that one. Because wasn't that dude that was Arizona? They hit all them home runs, yeah. But that check swing and that ball landed, how they lost, and Schilling and Johnson, and I'm like, And Schilling became like the Yankee killer. The start of it. Yeah, Luis Gonzalez. I remember all that. So. Bob Brentley. Bob Brentley got the job from Buck Showalter. Remember I told you before, Buck Showalter lost 5 rings, got 5 rings out there. Hope the Mets don't go to the show and win, because averages be a half a dub. That'd be crazy. Yeah, almost 4 in a row. You got that right. And it didn't even seem like they were that dominant like that. I mean, yeah, once they got Clemens added on, but they done it under the scale with nickel and dime, because with Bernie Williams and Paul O'Neill and Jeter and all the cast that they had, you didn't even look at them like that, because you don't look at them like you do those 70s Yankees. It's a big difference when I look at Reggie Jackson, Greg Nettles, Ron Guidry, Thurman Munson, Chris Chambliss, Mickey Rivers, Roy White, those guys, Goose Gossage, Ron Guidry, those guys, they had a certain edge. Even Bucky Dent, they had a certain swag about them. He ran off all that. You didn't feel that with that Jeter run until probably when they won there. I'd say when they beat the Mets. I mean, it started to come in. But it didn't feel like, it wasn't like, people were trying to say they bought, but they weren't really a bought team. They added the pieces they added fit. It wasn't like the 80s when they tried to buy everything. Yeah. So. But thanks for the memories, because that's been a long time. And 2009 is a long time ago. Long time ago. Yeah, well, Tina was impressive, though. Got him from Seattle. How many people did they get from Seattle? They won a lot with them. Yeah, but they were clutch. But they were nickel and down. They were like working man Yankees. Wasn't like what they had once upon a time when they got to the World Series 78, 77, 78, and then in 81. Because nobody was like Reggie Jackson. Pettit wasn't like Ron Guidry. Consistently great for what he did, but different type. You know, Girardi was not Thurman Munson. They did not bring a Dave Winfield type persona into there. So he came up big. As a matter of fact, you make the case. I mean, he was more clutch than Ichiro in terms of big money moments. He was clutch. He was clutch. Very clutch. So. I liked him for that time. I'm not gonna call him one of my favorites. I liked him for that time. For the time period, I liked him. Because would be one of my favorites, you gotta put in the work, and I gotta say, oh, and I body of work. But he definitely fit. He was a great fit. Bernie was one of my favorite Yankees. Tino was. Andy Pettit, Paul O'Neill, those guys. Top 5 favorite? Jeter, Reggie, Willie Randolph, Bernie Williams, Rivera. And honorable mentions will go to managers Billy Martin. You know, I couldn't stand him personally, but he was something else that made him out to win. Steinbrenner was a crazy owner, but had this something about that fire that is missed. I think we can agree on that. There's things that if he were around, they wouldn't be doing. Goose Gossage is honorable mention. Pitchers? Well, Guidry, Sparky Lau, Rivera, Catfish Hunter, Musina. And honorable mentions to Clemens, Pettit. I'm naming everybody from recent memory though too. So a lot of that stuff coming from the 80s to the now. You know. I think if Cole sticks around, he could definitely belong on that list. Yeah, those guys come to mind. Those are my favorites. Because I liked him. There's guys that come to mind that I want to say. El Duque was nice. He was nice. I did like Dave Righetti, too. Yeah, I mentioned Clemens. I did like Dave Righetti back in the day. Pitched that no-hitter 41 years ago. I remember that. That was one of the few highlights of early era Yankees in the 80s, post Reggie Winfield. Because it was, they went and spent a lot of money, but they didn't get a lot of results. But I like Righetti. I think Righetti had a chance to actually could have been, so. And I like CC Sebastian. CC was nice for the Yankees too. CC was nice. I like CC. He was a hard worker. So, yeah. I wish Chapman had worked out as a reliever though. Yeah, I said CC and I gave Moose. Wells came up. I don't like him personally, obviously. If you don't know, watch his videos and his anti-wokeness. But to be high and drunk, and he thought he was like on some Babe Ruth tip with the little cap on his head. But he was clutch for us. I mean, he came up big. He came up big. I mean, but if I'm gonna mention him, I could mention David Cone too. So, But I give Wells his due. But Messina was the truth. Moose was the truth. Yeah, David Wells, Thurman Munson, Billy Martin, George Steinbrenner. It can be players, managers, owners, all that. believe it or not, Rivera's political, but certain things about him, because he's all Trumpy, certain things about him turn me off. Great picture though. Gene Carlos Stanton threw me off because he tried to downplay Bonds, and when he came over with him, and I think certain things just be cool with. Most of these cats is because of things they said or things they kind of wrote funny. Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. It was cool. It was cool. But when I'm thinking about certain guys, I got, guys that come to mind where I'm like, okay, Giambi, I respected him, but he didn't really fit. He tried real hard, and once he got busted, he was never the same. So that's one guy that come to mind as a Yankee. We got him about 2 or 3 years past the pull date. Had a guy named, he about 38 to about 41. We got him a little too late, 3 or 4 years too late with Randy. Still had something, but it wasn't the same. He was a big unit in legacy and what he accomplished, but he was kind of like a stored unit. Wasn't the same dude. Had we had him post Seattle when he went to Houston, probably would have won even more rings. Remember when he was in Houston, and he had that crazy record before he went to Arizona? Had we gotten him right when Wells got old, the White went out, and we had Clemens, and you had gotten him then, would have beaten Florida in the World Series. Would have won probably about 6, 7 in a row. Would have won that World Series against Arizona too. Would have won probably about 6, 7 in a row. That's how dominant he was still that dude. But by the time we got him, he was kind of past the pull date. He had just enough when he won in Arizona. So think about it. I did the math. You beat Arizona, you beat Florida. They didn't sign because of Georgia and also because of how racist it was. Griffey Jr. because he said what his father went through. And Steinbrenner they were bigot. I respect his business savvy. You can buy a team for $10 million and turn it into billions. That's. However, they were racist. And Bonds, they mentioned it. They talked about what they saw. You gotta remember, when you're clubhouse kids, you hear things, you see things. And that just don't go away overnight. It's like the experiences in Boston. So that's a reality. Besides, when those guys came along, they didn't need the Yankees lore because they were great players. I mean, if you win with the Yankees, that's a big thing, but it wasn't the same winning as what Reggie had to go through or what King Griffey Jr. Because he won with Cincinnati, but it was different. So it had different connotations. Time Bonds blew up and Griffey Jr. blew up. They were going to be respected where they were. Jeter helped him out immensely. Not saying that when I went on Yankee pinstripes didn't do, because it helped A-Rod to extent too. And there still carries cachet, but what I'm saying is when you're larger than life and you're great, yes. But when he went to Frisco, he became legendary because Frisco actually carried more weight than Pittsburgh did because of the Willie Mays situation. And just saying, there are tiers to this. There's a Willie Mays, and then there's Willie Stargell. Difference, big difference. Just saying. So No disrespect, because I love them both. Pittsburgh was a great baseball city. And they just re-signed Lord McClellan. He just re-signed, so he's coming back. But just saying. So, but Bonds took his legacy bigger by going to Frisco. And that's just a fact. Now, most guys would love to play in New York. I mean, it's considered the Mecca and all that. It does wonders for your baseball if you win there, and it does wonders for if you play basketball there. Not so much football, maybe except the Jets get more romanticized. The Giants win, but it's more of a team thing. But yeah, but I understood why. I'm gonna be on for 10 more minutes, and I'm gonna call it a night because I'll probably come back tomorrow. But I'm gonna be on for 10 more minutes. I got 10 more minutes, so if you hit me up with something, feel free. Yeah, I'll give you that. And he talked about going to the Giants. He has crossover. He's got the Jeter type of thing, you know, obviously the Mariah Carey, Tiger Woods thing. But he just ain't that dude. He's got that Anthony Davis thing. It's like he needs someone to carry him because as talented as he is, he ain't that dude. Scary got freaky talent. Get hurt, but he don't have enough sway. Stats are incredible, and he's, like I said, cat. And also, he was a late bloomer. By the time he got cracking, he was older. So that's another strike against him. And plus, the Yankees aren't that good. I hate to say it, I got to keep it 100. No bias here. You ask me about any of my favorites, you tell me what their flaws, I'm going to be 100 with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat. And that's the problem. If the Yankees were a great team and he was hitting like he was, all's forgiven. But that's just the problem. So, you know. So that's one of the problems that they run into. I like him. Like I said, he can play, but, you know, he got to come up big when it counts. And him and Giancarlo didn't work. So him and Soto was next on the list. They've underachieved with all that talent, couldn't get by Houston. So that's a dilemma he's got. He's got to figure it out. I have no one on ESPN. Once they got rid of Jalen, that was pretty much it. I don't really think much of any of them. I mean, and we talking about people that strictly talk sports, that I respect their skill set, just talking, maybe talking. I might say Mike Tirico because he can cover a wide range. I like the versatility, but I just don't really feel none of them heads, if I'm honest. It's more about the personality. Do you buy Stephen there? Do you buy the athletes are used as secondary and they're used to kind of have debates and stuff, but there really is nothing there. There's nothing there of consequence that they really, I mean, I used to like PTI, got off of that though. They too biased and sometimes they be shuffling. Mike Wilbon will shuffle. Tony Kornheiser be saying some stuff like he just knew because the black-white cop thing, sometimes, you know. Those are your three favorites? When Chuck be making that raw bone NBA conversation, I like. I'll give you that. The raw bone. And plus, he's got a personality that crossed over. He can say the most simplest stuff, and they really have to because he knows how to word it. He just connected with the public in a real way. Shaq's gotten better, but he's still, to me, he's holding back, and sometimes he's on point. Sometimes he's kind of like rolling. He don't hit like Kenny and Charles do, but him and Charles had that big brother, little brother thing going. So it depends. Some things I like, he says some. He's gotten better, but I wouldn't put him as one of my favorites. I give you Chuck. Aikman, I will definitely give you. I will definitely give you Aikman. Aikman is great. He's great. Yeah, Hubie Brown for old school, because no one ever talks his X's and O's and breaks it down in details and how ways that he doing. Tony Romo has been a grand revelation. Tony Romo has been great. Just like Alex Rodriguez, if you want to go baseball analysis, I think he does great. And I mentioned Tirico. So, you know, I guess Hubie, Tirico, Romo, Chuck, Aikman. I'd say those guys. I'd say, you know, I used to like Al Michaels too. But Chuck and Engman for different reasons how they hit it. And Romo was very technical, savvy. So it depends. But I love Hubie Brown. Hubie Brown is one of the best ever. I like a coach that actually can. Kevin Harlan can talk. I like his enthusiasm. It's more about his range. Just like Mike Breen when he goes bang. And I like Van Gundy when Jeff was there. Mark Jackson was good too. You know. But I like Harlan's enthusiasm. Just like, this Mike Breen too. I like the enthusiasm, the tone, just like Marv Albert used to do. So those guys I respect. But if you ask me, I got to pick 3 or 4. I'm going to take Chuck, Aikman, Hubie, Romo, and Tirico. I like Harlan too, but I probably take, yeah. And again, in different reasons too, because Tirico is the more rounded of them. Romo makes the game simpler for you at home. He has a way of breaking it down. He hits that. Hubie breaks down X's and O's like so few guys will do. Chuck has the humor and the punchlines and the rawness, which is still no one's really seeing. Shannon Sharpe is doing it for football. He's doing it. He's bringing it too, except he's got that LeBron agenda. If he didn't have a LeBron agenda, yeah. And Aikman, Troy's cold with it. He's on it. He be on it. Oh yeah, Doris Burke is bad, and she bad too. Candace is good and technical, but Doris breaks it down. Doris bad. She bad. I'll give you that. She bad. I'll definitely give you that. Definitely give you that. So, no comment, no argument there. Yeah, Doris is one of my favorites too. So I'll add her to that list too. I'll add her to that list. Okay, I got a few more minutes before I roll up on out of here. About 4.5 more minutes. So I will definitely be back tomorrow. Take some more. I'm looking forward to if you want to come back tomorrow. But we can, if you got more questions, you want to feel free to throw them out there. But yeah, good call on Doris. Like Harlan's enthusiasm. Chuck Aikman, Hubie. Can't say, like I said, there's it's gonna probably be about 10. But I like the ones like Doris Burke who actually, most of the people show too much bias. They got too much agenda. And I miss the days when like Jackie McMillan, people like that would just bring it. It's different now. So that's all I gotta say with that. Yeah, I got a few more minutes, so got anything else you want to chop up with? Feel free. This has been great again. Welcome back to the new year. Prayers, thoughts, pieces, and everything. It's always good to get back into the conversation and chop it up and talk about these different folks. Some of these folks need to be talked about. Some of these folks, I leave them alone. Candace is good. I like her when she's with D Wade. And, she can articulate, but I'm not blown away. But Doris, yeah. So, yeah. It's makes you think. There's some great questions as always, Ted. I appreciate it too, because I had to sit there and think, and then of course I had to put some names, places, and I think the reason why I'm not so blown away is because too much bias, especially when we're talking NBA. It's hard for me to take most of them serious, Hubie's probably like one of Hubie and Doris, I will say, that I will listen to just strictly. Because if I see this bias and I have to hear these people talking, I just want some people who don't have no bias involved. And it's kind of hard to get that because there's just so much, go along, get along, especially in that. In basketball, more so. Football, it speaks for itself. So, so anyway, great conversation with that. I used to have a lot more analysts that I like. I think that's why it's so tough now, because most of them just kind of just turn me off. because they're trying too hard, like they bought off by Clutch Sports or slurping up LeBron or trying to push this narrative. There's only 2 or 3 people you got to talk about, and they're ignoring what's going on in the court. Like Jokic hit that game-winning shot against Golden State. And I'm going to do a video about that tomorrow. And why he ain't talked about more, he outdid a Steph Curry in Curry's house. Why isn't that talked about more? Denver don't sell no jerseys. There ain't no fan. That's why I said it's hard. Those Jokic and Giannis is 2 baddest cats going right now. With all due respect to Joel Embiid, if he can keep it up, we'll see what happens with Luka, and they still slurping for Jason Tatum to come on board, and SGA, Shea. You got some, but let's just stick to the script. So those are the 2 baddest cats going. So anyway, it was great talking about this. Definitely been a great conversation. And like I said before, it's tough to you're trying to get excited when they just want to push a certain narrative. They just keep pushing dead weight, under 500 relics that really aren't relevant to what's going on in the now. So we need to respect what we got. We got some, and I'm gonna do a video about that tomorrow. This era of the big man in the NBA. That's gonna be one of my topics. So be on the lookout for that video. So I'm gonna talk about it. All right. Peace and the best. Appreciate y'all, especially Ted. Thanks for all the questions. Appreciate you keeping the channel going. Appreciate from Thailand coming through. Great questions. A lot of memories. We're looking forward. Peace the best. I'm out. All right, right now.